Welcome back to another episode of Cultivate with Chris. Today I'm a little comfortable and snug. It's like 68 degrees in LA right now and it's like rainy. Today we're specifically going to be talking about boundaries. Because this week I've realized how important it is to have boundaries. I never really had clear boundaries. I feel like I was always a people pleaser, and I still am a people pleaser in a lot of ways. For example, like I remember I had a really big fallout with a group of friends in school, and I thought the only way to get them back was like buying them gifts and showering them with like gifts. So I bought them all gifts like every week, and like I would make them stuff for like Valentine's Day. It was like pretty sad. Thought the only way to get people's attention and stuff was to please them. And I'm now later in life realizing that it's the exact opposite. The only time people really notice you and take what you're saying into account is when you are dead silent. So boundaries have always been like a rough category of self-development for me to move forward with and develop, because I never knew what the correct boundaries were. My mom pleases every single person. She's an absolute gem. She will give everything to her kids and the people she loves, and in a lot of ways I think that's a beautiful thing, but I constantly remind her to set clear boundaries, because what is known with regards to human behavior and what I've also noticed going on in my life and in my 22 years of living is the second you give people access to you, show support, the right ones will respect that, but the wrong ones, and a lot of the time there's a lot of wrong ones, they will take more than you're giving. They will expect what you're giving all the time, and when you stop giving them that, they will look for that as a reason to have an issue with you. I wanted to impress my dad, I wanted to impress my mom, I wanted to impress people in general. I wanted to be liked so badly, and like the last 6 months I've really just said like fuck it, like I actually don't give a shit. Like, let people think that they have access to me any time of the day. I'm not doing that anymore. It's actually frustrating me, and so many of my relationships ended. Sorry, a plane is passing. We're good now. And that's okay, because I have so many new relationships and like beautiful friendships that I've formed, because the friends that are in my life right now respect my boundaries and I respect their boundaries, and they like the fact that I have boundaries. Your friends should support you in the things you do. Your friends shouldn't criticize you at every chance they get. That's something very basic to the mind, but that's something that I struggled to understand for so long. When it comes to boundaries, it's very personal. It's what works for you, like what specific boundaries you choose to have in your life. Like, for example, I prioritize days to myself. So there's days where I need to be alone, and the people in my life, my friends, they understand if I say no, I need the day to myself. Like, I need to kind of just like ground myself and be alone. They understand that. They're like here for it. But I've had friends in the past that don't respect that, and they feel like they should have access to me all the time, and that is wrong, because again, nobody should own you. The only people that should have ownership over you is yourself. I think distance can also be your best friend a lot of the time. Taking a step back and just assessing the environment and understanding what you want, what works for you, what doesn't. Just being in isolation for a little when you're overwhelmed, I think, is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Being in isolation allows you to climatize, it allows you to ground yourself, it allows you to neutralize your energy. So I think that's the foundation of things, is to take isolation periods, whether that's like once a week or twice a week, or like maybe once every 2 weeks if you hate being alone. Like, having days where you're just on your own allows you to ground and like understand yourself a little bit more, because at the end of the day, if you can be alone and thrive, you're a superhero. There's so many people in this world that hate being alone and can't be alone for 1 second, and I'm the opposite. I do thrive on my own. And I think that once you set those clear boundaries and you thrive on your own, it allows room for romance, because romance should not be a codependent situation. Romance should be two wholes having a relationship, not two halves forming a whole. I think it's really dangerous when two halves form a whole. When you are your own whole, an individual, you do not allow beliefs and actions of others to govern you. Once you start allowing the actions, beliefs, and movements of others to control you, you're in danger. Like sharks would blood, people can smell when you are not rooted in yourself, and when you are broken, people will attack the broken. It's just the way nature works. I don't drink. I used to drink socially here and there, but 2 years ago, I decided to cut out alcohol. It just wasn't working for me. I used to have a stomach ulcer. My skin used to break out when I used to drink for days after. And if I did drink, it would be like once a week on the weekends. But it just did not work for me. The amount of times I've had people in power try and get me to drink, or my friends put pressure on me, well, past friends put pressure on me to drink, is unheard of. Only now I'm realizing, and I'm actually so happy, because not once did I allow anybody to force me into something I didn't want to do. I said, no, it just doesn't work for me. I stood firmly in my boundary and my faith and my belief. And as many people as it has shocked and weirded out, there's been a huge group of people that respect that. And, you know, like my friends, they understand that about me. And when we go for drinks, I'll get a Diet Coke and I'll still party as hard, you know? I'm not willing to let that boundary down for anybody. Another boundary of mine, simple boundary of mine, is no shoes in the house. When you come to my apartment, you take your shoes off and you leave them in the shoe stand. That's just the way it works. That's a boundary of mine, and I will politely ask you to take your shoes off. Another boundary of mine is I'm not going to be losing sleep over anybody. I'm sorry. If I've hurt you, I will lose sleep. That's where I'll start. If I've caused somebody else pain, I will lose sleep, and I will do anything and everything in my power to try and make up for the pain that I've caused an individual. However, if you are taunting me, if you are trying to get my attention, if you are doing things in a negative way to get my attention, or if you just don't like me and you want to show me that, I will never lose sleep over you. In fact, I pity you. Recently, there was a guy, a man, who referred to me by a slur that I'm not and I don't identify with, and went on to publicly speak about me. And this man is like a partier in LA. I actually don't know what he does, if he's a promoter. I don't actually give a fuck what he does. Went out of his way to badmouth me to a room full of people, and he is an 40-year-old man. Like, just is so funny to me how 40-year-old men can be hating on 20-year-olds. Grow up. He is one of the most unauthentic people I have ever met. He's mean. He tells girls to stop eating, bases everything on looks. He's like disgusting. I pity a 40-year-old man that hates on 20-year-old positive people just trying to make it. Only since I've been a bitch and stood up for myself have I experienced the feeling of being respected. Crazy as this is going to sound, I have to remind myself every day to be more calm and understanding to people, because I will say I've been so traumatized by mean, negative people that it's made me not want to be around people, and that's a very dangerous thing, because energy is a currency that gets exchanged between individuals. It is imperative that you are around people and don't isolate yourself all the time. I have a lot of patience for people, but I don't have patience for self-centered, egotistical people that only speak about themselves and only text me when there's something wrong with them. I will not do that anymore. If you're only reaching out to me when you need something and when you need advice, go fuck yourself, respectfully. Don't care to have a relationship, whether that be friendly or romantically, where it is 50-50, 50% my heart, 50% your heart. We're exchanging, we're making sure we're both okay. And you want it to be more one-sided, where I'm having to play therapist 24 hours a day, miss me. Find somebody else. Go look for another friend, because I'm not your person. My feelings are just as valid as yours, and that is that. I'm in a phase of my life right now where any relationship I have, whether it is romantic or friendly, I only want it to be positive. I used to crave toxicity, negativity. I used to think that it was exciting. I don't have any fucking time for that. I am ready to have tea on a beach at a 5-star resort with the love of my life, eating good food, dancing the fucking night away, loving each other, going on spiritual retreats, and just living positively, getting our bread, looking hot, working out. Like, that is the life for me. Because at the end of the day, I want to live peacefully, relaxed, calm. All my goals are going to come true, but with that, you need a certain level of peace and faith, and those are the main ingredients right now. Faith is my number one ingredient. I have a very close relationship to God, and that is that. No negative energy or entity can access me because I am so divinely protected. Sometimes I have to ask myself, are you voicing your opinion or are you forcing your opinion? And if I am forcing my opinion, or it has connotations where I'm like aggressive or trying to prove my point is the only point that's correct, I back away because that's not my intention. I voice my opinion. If it resonates with you, perfect. Met a few people, and one person I'm thinking of in particular recently that preaches and thinks that their ways are the only ways. I used to be that way. I used to be so rooted in my own opinion that I used to disregard everybody else's. That's truly no way to act or live. I also don't like rude people. If I'm around, I know somebody and they're with a group of friends, I'll greet the whole group of friends. I won't greet the one person. There's this one annoying that every time I see her out, they greet my friend and will completely disregard me, but will engage with me on social media, and like, it's just so weird to me. Like, are you blind? If your intentions are not rooted in things that matter, like being a kind, loving person, you're only going to go so far, and it's going to be very temporary. The reason I'm speaking about all of this is because this has everything to do with boundaries. If I didn't care and I never had boundaries, I wouldn't even speak about this because it wouldn't matter to me. Like, I wouldn't care. Like, I would just let people behave the way they want to, but I'm not gonna. Also realizing that you're allowed to distance yourself from people that the energy just doesn't feel right with. If you don't feel good energy around somebody, you don't have to explain that. You can just say, this isn't for me anymore. Life is way too short to be in relationships that don't serve you and don't feel like the most authentic. I had a wild Halloween weekend. I went out every day for like 6 days in a row, and I really had a good time with some of my friends. I had an amazing, amazing time. It charged my batteries, it rejuvenated me, and now I'm taking 3 to 4 days alone. Nobody contact me. And the real ones are just gonna have to understand that, because I physically am in no space to have conversations with people when I've been around it for so many days. I just need to recharge. I need to catch up on work. I want to journal. I want to catch up on my favorite shows. I'm gonna go have a bath. I'm gonna make a cup of tea, and I'm gonna watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And just cook myself a nice dinner. Enjoy my Sunday evening. I love everybody watching this. I hope that this helped in some way. I hope you were able to resonate in some way. At the end of the day, we're all just humans and we're here to help one another. The first step to helping others is helping yourself. And the only way to do that is with positive boundaries.